tools you actually need, what tools you use. As an electrician, obviously, we're going to Klein tomorrow. So we're going to Klein's headquarters. We're going to do probably a tour of the factory, and I've already signed NDAs. I've got quite a few tools that I can't even talk about. I've been testing for them, and fixing to go probably do that more tomorrow. And actually, I don't know if it's going to be a collab, but American Electrician is going to be there. So that's pretty cool. So American Electrician will be there. They meet with Klein. We'll be doing some kind of tour, and should be cool. For tonight, we're going to look at a couple of tools that you got to have for troubleshooting, how to troubleshoot, pick up where we left off with some voltage drop stuff, some Waco stuff, some toner stuff, and we'll just kind of answer your questions and go from there. Minute was first. What's that, Sarush? What's going on, PS5? What's going on, Backwoods? All right, so I just realized, man, I really wanted to do this live horizontal and not vertical. That's okay. We'll stick with vertical. Dang it. It's fine. It's fine. The more the merrier, right? We definitively got less voltage drop using wire nuts. And what you guys don't know in the long format video is that these weren't actually twisted. So we twisted these up and we got even less voltage drop with the wire nuts twisted. I've had a bunch of questions come through about troubleshooting, how to find neutrals that are touching grounds, things like that. So we made this thing for you guys. And it's basically a bunch of wire and conduit. And we can connect them to each other, do whatever we got to do. And yeah, less voltage drop. Less voltage drop twisted together than just wire nutted. Makes sense, though, because, they're twisted together. Does it mean anything? Probably not. All it means is that whenever you open up a box, the wires aren't going to just be bouncing out at you, right? How many times have we been troubleshooting in a commercial building and you open up the 4-square and then you just start loosening the wire nuts because you want to take a peek at the quality of the connection, and then this happens, right, where it just disconnects. Blimey, that looks like a basement before I got in and fixed it up. Yeah. So we've got a couple of different ways that we can purposely short some wires together. I don't know exactly what I want to do here. So a couple of things I want to do this live. I think I want to put a different tabletop on top of this and see what we think about that, because I've got an extra slab that we can put on top of here. I'd like to push all these tools back. We got to talk about a couple of tools. Somebody was asking me about these strippers / needle nose, and do they really need them? Is it just a tool that came out that would be nice to have, or are these actually awesome? So we're going to let you know what I actually think about these, because in most of my career, I didn't use needle nose. You don't need needle nose to do a lot of things as an electrician. I've got a couple of friends that swear by them. They say, oh no, needle nose is a big part of what I do. That wasn't for me, man. Maybe some cut-in boxes. And you don't put in metal cut-in boxes that often. Sounds like the Discord is going off. I just got to silence it. So we're just going to turn the volume down. Too busy for Discord. I would try to have them before passing. I saw a film in the Navy boot camp called VD How to avoid it, sailor. Yeah. Awesome, Jordan. Thank you for your service, sir. Definitely isn't the Discord. It probably was the Discord. I've got my Discord. I ignore my Discord just as much as I ignore your Discord. Let's see here. All right, so don't know exactly what I want to do with this. I don't know if I want to replace the tabletop. What we're gonna do, we're gonna get about 50 people in here. I don't want to start troubleshooting too early, but I also want to have a nice work surface for you guys too. So I'm kind of torn on exactly what to do. This is staying for sure. You know, we're constantly always changing some things up around here. That's staying for sure. That's all I know. I think we're going to put a different tabletop on this. A slightly different type of VD, yeah. The day YouTube and hang out with the wife and kids on the couch. Nice. My wife and kids are out of the house right now. So why not? Let's close that door. Not that it matters because it's here. Somebody said, if my grounds and neutrals are touching, how can I use a toner? Because I don't get any toning. So we'll show you that. I really, really wanted this to not be vertical, but I forgot that I didn't want to do that. So now we're stuck vertical, and then this arm here has been fighting me every chance it gets. There we go. All right, so we're gonna get. This is pretty much all you need as a technician. You only need whatever's in this bag. If you're going to do commercial, you need whatever's in that bag. And then if you watch YouTube and you listen to everything you see consume, then you wind up buying this. I don't recommend this bag at all. This is the worst purchase I've made this year. This TPXXL is hands down the worst purchase that I've made this year. It did come with this bag, and this bag was free with it. But man, this is not useful for me at all. I really don't recommend that at all. We've got our toner, wand. We've got the actual generator here. This is the probe. We need to get the leads for this, which should be in the bottom of this bag here somewhere. It's either going to be in here or here. Or here. I just finished a job. I do a lot of troubleshooting jobs, man. I consult for a local company. And I do a lot of troubleshooting that I cannot film. I have yet to find somebody to let me film outside of their house. When I find that, we'll be good. But as of yet, I've yet to find somebody to let me film. What we're going to do, we're going to take this neutral here. This neutral we know is going to go over here. We're going to purposely attach this neutral to the ground. And we got to attach to the box. So we need some grounding pigtails, which I picked up. Oh, we already bonded the box, so we're golden. We got a ground screw already. Need to attach it back to the box. I don't think there's been a better screwdriver made to this day than the Klein ball grip. The fast bit true grip. It's like indestructible, man. Okay, so we're bonded to the case. We'll attach this neutral directly to. We'll go ahead and use the thin strippers. Why are these great? It's because of that step cut. So in case you've been laying underneath a rock, these have a step cut where regular strippers or needle nose don't have a step cut. And I got to tell you, man, these are actually, they make a big difference when cutting. You like it so far? Love the true grip, yeah. It's usually in the story that it is ask permission. Yep. What's one of those things? Let's see here. A rat nest of wires, yeah, exactly. You just gave you a great idea for a video. You're welcome. Can you show a good way to strip wire sheathing inside receptacle box without nicking the insulation? I think I just did that. Can you show a good way to strip wire sheathing inside receptacle box without nicking insulation? There's actually a tool for that. I have to grab it. It's a Knip X. So I'm fully expecting my battery to die. That's why I don't have my microphone plugged in. I know you guys get good audio from back here. Hit or miss when I'm standing anywhere else, I'm sure. One of the best ways to strip wire when you're inside the box is to have a decent pair of wire strippers. That actually helps a bunch. So if you have a decent pair of wire strippers that actually fits, we could be all the way back here. You get the right size, you squeeze, and then you just push with minimal effort. And the wire gets stripped because they're a good shape. An example of some bad shapes would be maybe these. And you'd be in the bottom of your box. Number 12 here. These are a little bit out of touch because they're just older and they didn't really care about tolerances. So you got to push considerably harder. We're actually on the number 12 spot right there. These are for stranded though. We might need to go to the 14s. Let's go one up. Yeah, we have to go to the 14s. You see where they don't quite exactly fit where you want them to. So if you don't have some of the newer style strippers, they've really gotten competitive in the last couple of years to where the things just fit without having to fight. Okay. Got a wire here. We'll go straight to the box. And yeah. Yep, we'll go straight to the box. We'll use a Wago so you guys can see it easier. What's going on? There you go. Now we can disconnect and reconnect if we need to. We're not going to bother hooking this up to the ground because we just want to make it simple for you guys so you can see what's going on. And then this is going to get a little bit loud, but it is what it is, man. We can't do it any other way, so we don't have a choice. The first thing you're going to do is turn this down to the lowest volume or the lowest sensitivity. That's the first thing you're going to do. And then you're going to want to dial this up, paying attention to your lights as you get closer to your source. So right now we're sitting at about a 2 right there. When we get close, let's see if we can make that a 1. Push it up one more time. Now we're pretty dialed in. If I was to hook this up to a better ground, we'd get even better sensitivity. But for the purpose of this video, we're not going to show you how to hook it up to the ground because I feel like I beat a dead horse and lose people. So we're going to keep it as simple as possible. Right now, the neutral is touching the ground, which means that basically, if these two leads are touching each other, we're not going to get a tone. If I release these, we get our pure tone back. If they're touching each other, you have zero tone. So you can kind of use this in reverse. With the power off, we can almost have kind of a simulated voltage running through these wires. And when we make a change, we'll know that we potentially fixed the problem because we're going to get a tone back. So if your grounds and neutrals are touching each other, you want to hook up one of your black leads to an actual ground. In this case, we'll use the box because this goes to the box. And on the other one, we hook up to the neutral that we're trying to tone out, which would be, I believe, this one here. There we go. Yeah, so strip that out. Yeah, so we lost our tone because they're connected to each other. Even if I put this over here, we shouldn't get any tone because all the pipe is electrically connected together. So just like we showed you before, we have purposely attached the black to the ground and the red to the white neutral. This is the comment. When I attach my red lead to my neutral, to my tone, how do I trace this out? Well, you forget trying to trace it as far as this goes because you're not going to be able to get any numbers here. You're going to use this as a tell to know when you fix the problem. So, for example, if we're working in a box and we happen to move a receptacle or whatever we're doing, and we get one of those lugs off of the side of the box, you might wind up where you hear a sound now because now we've disconnected it from the ground. And you get your pure tone back. So you can use this kind of in reverse, even though you can't trace with it and you can't pinpoint exactly where the problem is. You can still use this to identify if you fix the problem immediately or not. See, we lost our tone. So this is actually useful even if your neutrals and grounds are touching, or if your grounds and hots are touching. You do the same thing with the hot. So if your hot is touching ground, you'd say, well, I can't trace my hot because it's touching the ground already. Same thing. You'll know when you find the problem because you get your tone back. I gotta turn that off. Can you show a good way? Okay, I already read that. That's one of those things. It's all about experience, I guess. Yeah. If you use the Milwaukee drill strippers, they won't nick the wire. Ha! Yeah. I know a client has a Romex stripper. Yes, they do. Why don't they make a stripper with a wide end like a linesman for wire twisting? I never figured out why. They do. They have one. The problem is that they just don't have enough grab because you don't have all the weight up here. So I actually returned it. I didn't like it. I don't return too many Klein tools. I think I returned that one. Same thing here, with this Ideal. It's kind of a, what you call a hybrid plier. But they just don't have the same leverage the regular pliers do. There's only really one pair of pliers that has the leverage. And that's right here. These are decent. Bulky, but decent. Good hammers. Good strippers. Only 3 sides. Real easy to see what's going on. Really good strippers. Crimper, screw shears, all that stuff. They work good. The Knipex are okay. They're just okay. They're not amazing. They're not bad. They're just okay. Yo, what's up, Fix It Jimmy? What's going on? Which one would you choose, Milwaukee 6-in-1 or Klein pliers you're using now? Which is better, strippers? That's a good question. The Milwaukee 6-in-1s are good. Were you talking about these now? Because I'm a little bit behind on the chat because I'm trying to catch up. I would actually choose these over the Milwaukees. There's a couple of reasons why. The Milwaukee strip great, but so do these. The Milwaukees cut great, but so do these. The Milwaukees have needle nose, but they're not cross-hatched. And these are. And these cut better than the Knipex do. This step cutter here cuts better than maybe anything that I've got. This is underrated. This is actually probably more smooth than my Australian crosscuts, which I don't know exactly where they are right now. I'd have to locate my Australian crosscuts. They're here on the table somewhere. But yeah, these actually cut because you see where they close. They close on the back end last. See that? They're still open. They're closed on the front. They close on the back first. Most pliers will close on the back first and then the front. These close on the front and then the back. So the leverage is insane on these. Even these here. They're closed on the back first and then the front. These things cut better than anything I've got. And then they're cross-hatched. And then they strip really good. I haven't tried out the crimper yet. But I'm really, really liking these a lot. And I don't use a whole lot of needle nose. It's great to have them. But whenever you're trying to rock like a minimalist kind of pouch where you just kind of got everything you need. And you're doing like rewire stuff or you're doing troubleshooting, whatever you're doing. A lot of times the wire that you run up on, it looks like this. So wire that you run up on that looks like this, you don't want to be using a multiplier for. You need as much leverage as possible. So you want to get like a full size pair of Kleins to start manipulating this wire to have the best chance for a good connection. You start using some of these multipliers and it's not going to be the best connection that you can do. So when I run my troubleshooting stuff, whatever I'm doing, like a quick kind of go pouch to have everything, I don't like compromises. So you either do the full size. These are pretty good. They give you a lot of leverage. So like I can make up a quality connection here, even though this wire's been spun back purposely. We made a left-hand connection on the last live here purposely, just to see. But you can see where we can still get some pretty good leverage and probably a quality twist without too much trouble with these. Where I don't know if we could do that with you know, a pair of multipliers. That's never going to have any problems. That's a little bit sketched there the way it's twisted, but you know, it's literally 2 inches there. So I like to have the best chance that I've got to make a good connection. I don't like tools that do half the job, which is why I don't have any 10-in-1s in here. I don't have any 11-in-1s. I've got full-size screwdrivers that are easy to switch out, easy to find your bits, and then your bits act like little manipulators, pry bars. You're working on a ceiling fan that's flat up against the ceiling. You can use this low profile because the handle's not sitting up against the ceiling. You're trying to attach a screw to one of those round fixtures where the screws are like this short. They're like the flared for those stupid sconce lights or whatever it is for a bathroom. And you can barely reach between the wall and your fingers and everything. You barely got enough room to even get the screwdriver flush to the wall to even get that angle going to tighten the screw. These little bits, man, they come in clutch. And then I threw a Milwaukee magnet on mine. And it works great. And then you got all 6 sizes here. Then I was rocking these because these is what I was using for needle nose. But a pair of Cobras, man, they're just too useful to not have a pair of Cobras, and they're super light. So these can go anywhere in the setup. But before, I was rocking this and this only. These were my strippers. These were my Kleins. These were my hammer. These were my needle nose. And that's all that I needed. But now that I've got these, I'll probably wind up putting those there, doing a full-size pair of Kleins, and then throwing these somewhere over here, just in case I need them. My full-size pair of Kleins are here. There we go. And then someone is saying, how do you strip wire that's in the back of a box without messing with the insulation? These are $50, and they work 97% of the time. So I'll show you what I mean. No guarantees that this is going to work. Looks like it did. Yay. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just, you do this, and nothing happens. But yeah, looks like they're going to work. That's really useful for when you have really short wires just hanging out of a box. You can go straight onto the wire and pop the insulation off. Pop a 221 Wago on at that point. I don't like Wagos, but man, when the wire's short, the wire's short, you know. Don't be trying to twist a connection on there with a wire nut when your skirt for your wire nut's like this long. You guys know what I'm talking about. So your skirt's like this long in a wire nut. And then you still need like 3/4 length of actual copper exposed. So you're pretty much like stripping that wire way back just to get a connection on there. Wagos are perfectly fine. Does that one do DC? Yes. Yes, it does. Doing the same old, putting the bear on blast. What's up, LFL? Can you use that toner to locate a nail or drywall screw into Romex? You can. I'll show you right now. We'll put a screw through something. 6-in-1s are great. How can a person check the wiring in a double-wide home to see if some wiring has been compromised, maybe by rodents, etc.? If you got trip breakers, you know, it's not easy to really check the wire that way. Client does make great tools. They do. I'm going to upload some shorts here soon. Nice. The costume. My son's got an industrial electrician IE degree, and it's making bank at 23. Yeah, exactly. I was 21, I think, when I got my journeyman's, and yeah, for back then, I was making bank. How can someone check the wiring? I already read that. I will check it again. Good to hear. I watched Batman Begins the other day. Good movie. Nice. Always got good movies, man. Okay, so if the wire is compromised, we run a nail through it. So let's do that. We'll do it on this Romex, actually. So we've got a receptacle here. Receptacle. We got wire. Go ahead and put that wire nut back on there. See the skirt? Remember I was telling you about the skirt? How sometimes, you know, you're stripping so much and can't get that wire nut on there? It's a case in point there. See? Skirt won't allow it. It will grab, but we're gonna have to force it. See what I'm saying? So it's not a problem though, because we can just put our wire stretcher on it a little bit. There you go. It's fine. It's fine for what we're doing. Okay. This is all isolated. We're going to put a screw in the Romex. Let's do it. We're going to find a screw. Well, I've got a pocket screw. And let's get this out of here. Also, I found my cross cuts, so we'll have to do this in a second for you guys, because these are the Australian only, and they cut last. You can see that, but they don't have a step cut feature. They have that shearing cross cut. The back closes last. They have a lot of leverage, but the new Klein strippers actually have more leverage than this does, and I'll show you here in a second. Right now, we got to run a screw in here. Should be a number 2 square. There we go. No promises if we're actually going to short anything. We're not really watching or aiming. We're just screwing this in. Did we actually hit anything? I guess we'll have to find out. So maybe we should purposely simulate this so you guys can actually see. Let's go for the hot in the ground here. Screw like right there. That sounds pretty promising. Okay. How do we know we are shorted? We're going to grab one of the most simple multimeters to use. It's seriously simple. This is the one that I recommend. It's lightweight, it's cheap, and it does a really good job on telling you exactly what's going on with the circuit as it happens. So this is the Milwaukee here. When we touch continuity, we get a continuity light. When we touch voltage, we get a voltage light. It's backlit and it's auto sensing. Let's see if we did short the hot and ground together. Let's see here. I'm going to go over here to the receptacle. The only way to plug into these tamper-proof is to put them in at the same time, like this. And then we can pull one out. Pull out the neutral, leave the hot in there, and then we want to touch the ground there. Okay, we did not short the hot to the ground. So we failed. Okay, let's try it. Let's try to do that. Let's make sure it happens. There we go. Oh, we definitely got some hot exposed now. Let's put that screw back. We're touching the ground yet? No? Come on. You know, last time we did this, we had such the hardest time. Like, you bang a nail into a wall, and it's an instant service call. And then I'm over here doing my best to short this out purposely. And it's like, you know, not happening. It's crazy. That's got to do it there. That's ridiculous. Oh, because the screw is painted? Is that why? Was it because the screw is painted? Could be because the screw is painted. We're going to make sure this thing's like good, proper fucked. Okay. Are we touching now? That's freaking amazing. How, man? How? Yeah, man, I promise you, if you were to do this on an accident at your house, you would need an electrician immediately. Let's try that. There we go. Okay, so rats chewed up this area, right? We don't know exactly where. Use a drywall screw. Yeah, we should have done that. Not a cabinet installer. 1-800 you fail. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So breaker won't reset, right? You go over there to your receptacle as the electrician, and you're like, okay, well, what is the problem? Is it the hot touching the neutral, or is it the ground touching the hot? So we go over here, we touch the yoke, and we discover that the ground is touching the hot, right? Then you're going to rule out all possibilities of the neutral being a problem. Neutral's clear. So we know the ground is touching the hot. There's a couple of things we can do here. We can take this toner here. Let's say that we've already taken all the devices out of the wall. So every one of these receptacles here, every one of these wire nuts will resemble a receptacle around the whole room. We've already pulled all the devices out of the wall. And we still can't figure out why, we still have a problem. Everything's still connected, just the devices are off. We still have everything all picked up. You can take your toner here and you can attach this to your hot and your ground. So let's do that. We'll go ahead and we'll attach not a fan of this receptacle. That to the hot, and we'll go to the ground there. And if it's still shorted, we should not get a tone. Yeah. So if we take this off, we'll get a tone. Perfect. Okay. So, and also we get a continuity. Get a continuity marker right there. If our hot and ground aren't touching, we don't get that continuity. So we're getting this continuity here. We can just leave this over here by the receptacle. We can just leave that right there. We're just going to leave this right there. Now we can go through to each individual box. We can start disconnecting wires until we hear a tone, because that's going to let you know if you found the problem. So if we went over to this box and we disconnected all the wire over here and we still didn't have a tone, go to the next box, disconnect all the wires. Okay, still no tone. The second that we find the problem here, which would be the wire in between this box and that box, let's say we disconnect that. See that, where we get an intermittent issue? Hear that? That's a good indicator that you found the problem. So then you go in there, you disconnect your wires completely. However you're doing it. Turn this off. From there you go to your breaker, go turn it on, see if the circuit holds, right? Now we know we found our issue. Now you know that your problem is in the wall from this box to this box. You don't know exactly where, but you know you're going to have to do some kind of reroute to get from this receptacle box to this receptacle box, because there's been something chewed up in the wall from point A to point B. Or the foundation shifted and pinched a wire because an electrician ran something in between some framing where there was a gap and he didn't drill his own hole, and now the house shifted and closed on that wire. Or the electrician wasn't paying attention whenever he did the wall rough for the house, and they laid the plywood right on top of the rafters in the attic, and then the framers came down there and they laid plywood right on top of the decking to create a walkway. And now the plywood is directly on top of the wires in the attic. A lot of situations, this can help you, even though you're not able to tone, because it's just not going to read because everything's touching. You can use this in reverse and you can find the issue This will let you know that you found the problem without having to do too much guesswork. If not, you're running back and forth, you're loosening wire, you're going back, oh, did I fix it? Let me check continuity. You notice how we didn't have to touch this multimeter again? As soon as we verified that the grounds and neutrals were actually touching, we didn't even have to use this multimeter again. Yeah, they never put in nail plates, you know, all that stuff. Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Does the toner do DC? This toner does anything. It's not just DC, it's wire in general. You can't use this on live circuits. So if you've got a circuit that you're trying to track down, you pull the fuse, so there's no voltage on it, and you want to hook this up to see if you get a tone on something to see if it's shorted to the chassis, and you want to do what I just did here. Let's say that the neutral was touching the chassis, the ground was the chassis, and you start moving wires around, and you start hearing your tone, you know you found the problem. So it's not really for DC, but you can use this on anything. See here. Eating green post soul? I don't even know. Sent by the AFIC. Let's see here. They never put in nail plates. Yeah, that's another reason for things like that. You don't put in the nail guards, and then your wire's less than 1.25 inches from the face of the stud. I was working near a radio tower with one of those, and it started picking up radio stations. I believe you. These things will also pick up, you can, what can you do? You can hook this up to speakers and project the noise through the loudspeaker and drive the whole job site crazy. Isolate all wires in the cable and tie to hot and use non-contact stick on each cabinet screw. You could do that too. You could do that too. See which cabinet's true. I ran a screw. I was mounting an air compressor reel, and I zipped a screw into the wall one day, and the lights flickered for half a second. I didn't think anything of it, but then I kind of started thinking, and I was like, I'm going to check. So I backed the screw out, and there was smoke pouring out of the hole. And so I grabbed a claw hammer real quick. I just started tearing out the insulation. And the insulation was like disintegrating. The fire was just running up. It was that old, like greenish, the one that the lizards love to lay their eggs in. I don't know what the insulation is. Is that really compact, compressed one that turns into dust over the years. It just kind of disintegrates. Anyway, it was just like disintegrating, like the fire was just going up the wall. So I grabbed the claw hammer, I started ripping the insulation out of the wall. I was in the garage, luckily. I just started ripping the insulation on the floor and stomping it out. But if I hadn't have thought about it, you know, if the light hadn't have flickered or whatever, and I hadn't have thought about it, might not have had a garage. Use the generator side to inject a sign. That's pretty cool. Yeah, rock wool. I feel like the newer rock wool is way better than that. Is it? I know they got modern rock wool that's way better. I guess that older stuff is also rock wool. Just worse. But yeah, that's why toners are great. Someone says, you know, do you need a toner and a circuit tracer? You can get by with just a toner, but circuit tracers are really useful because the voltage can be on when you're using them. And they'll pinpoint your breakers. This won't find a breaker near as fast. You can turn off all your breakers and you can plug this into your receptacle and you can find a breaker pretty quickly. But if you're doing, you know, like service work or something like that, you can't just be turning off the power whenever you want to. So circuit tracers are good for when there's no way to turn off the power. But yeah, hopefully everyone here by now knows to hook up to a ground and not a hot. So I was saving that for last. I suppose I'll show you now the difference. We'll connect to something with a ground. Let me think. What are we going to do here? So remember what you meant in the first one. I've used a 9-volt battery to find out. Remember what I meant in the first one? I've used a 9-volt battery to find out which speaker is which. This will project the noise. There's one situation I was tracing some speakers in a bathroom. And I clamped this to the speakers. It was playing the noise out of the speakers. Oh, gotcha. It should all be fireproof. Yeah, not when it's that old. When it's that old, it's like combustible. Let me get a ground and let's see what we're going to do here. I did pick this up. So this is the DeWalt magnetic tough case. They make a yellow one. They make a black one. This one here is how I first discovered my love for these pivot bits, because these used to come with the pivot bits. So this case here is actually really awesome. So we'll get this open. This is what I use professionally for years and years and years. I'm trying to think when this thing came out, because I used it to the day that I became an inspector. And then with all the mold and stuff, I just had to throw it away. So I stopped, talking about it, using it, thought I'd never see one again, because I don't think they make them anymore. The magnets snap to studs, they snap to strut, it snaps to everything. So the magnets stay with you, snap it to the side of a panel, whatever you're doing. And everyone's got that assorted like bit box, right? Where you've just got your hole saws, you got your unit bits, you got your 1/4-inch bits for your pilot holes, SDS bits, 5/16s, 3/8, all your nut setters, all that stuff goes in here. And it's thin and it's slim and it just slides right in. But the magnets on this are like really good. Used to be really good. Let's try it again. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. The magnets are really good. So you got to remember, this was like peak magnetivity back in 2010. So they're not going anywhere when you snap it to the side. They're not like the magnets today where you've got a little tiny magnet like this that's able to hold, all that strength. But the magnets are good enough to snap to anything, and they're not going anywhere. If I could get a whole run of metal across this, we could do something stupid with it. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Once you snap both of them on a stud or something, this thing is never going anywhere. But this is how I discovered the pivot bits. So I've been using the pivot bit for years. Doing my best to not have to cut this open. I just kind of want to sneak in here, grab what I want, get in and get out, right? Perfect. Is it taped? It is taped. I believe this is also where I discovered the pilot tips. So This kit showed us a lot of really cool things from DeWalt when it first came out. This was like peak. This was like peak. See the pilot tip there? I think this is a 3/16, so this is not a 1/4 inch. Yeah, that's a 3/16. And then you got the pivoting, locking. And then if you guys watch the channel, you know I have about 6 of these. Here's one here. I swear by these. And then you'll notice, let's see here. Yeah. Obviously, this one gets a little bit more use. I was thinking it was different, but no, they're still the same. Still the same. So this is my go-to, whatever you want to call it, like bit box. This doesn't wear out too much. This lasts a lifetime. This doesn't fall off. Box lasts forever. The yellow one comes with non-impact rated, and it does not come with the pivot. But these used to be like, back when Black Friday was like really special, and they didn't have Black Friday deals before Friday. This is what you get in those Black Friday kits, you know, 2008 to 2015-ish, when Black Friday was like still magical, I guess. Now it's just whatever, dude. You got Black Friday deals the whole month. It's stupid. Need to keep a steel piece on the magnets to keep them strong, called Keeper. Oh, nice. Love the channel, low voltage tech, locksmith here, buying tools and bags and pouches almost solely based on your opinion. I appreciate that, man. Don't just buy everything you see. I'm really conscious to not just show you guys everything. I only like to buy what works. I only like to make videos on what works. And I do a lot of research before I ever show you anything. So hopefully you guys recognize that. There's a lot of tools that I'd love to just talk about, but I just haven't had a chance to use them, or, you know, whatever. So some things are like really good value, where they're usually $400 and they're on sale for $200. And I might drop that every once in a while, like, hey, this thing's like super on sale. I know a lot of people like it. But for the most part, man, I don't like to show a whole bunch of stuff. I kind of try to stick with the same tools. I do a lot of tool bag loadouts, so my tools kind of stay the same. Every once in a while, we'll discover something new. This one's new, so I was going to show you guys the crosscuts. So Klein directly handed me these, sitting across from somebody that works for Klein. And they said, we got you these as a gift, and these are Australia only. So I'm actually going to Klein tomorrow, and I'm going to be asking them, you know, about the grips that slip. Can we get an ECX or a C1 and C2 driver for this thing? I got some other questions. I signed NDAs, so stuff that I've been previously talking about, I can't talk about anymore because now it's their idea. So even if I recommend an idea to Klein, and they are going to go with it, even if I've been talking about it before, I can no longer talk about it. So got some big things happening, I hope, with Klein. I'm fixing to go meet them, sit down. Actually going down there tomorrow. But dude, this thing is crazy. I want to show you how good this is. I'm trying to think how I can even show you. I need some number 10, or let's do this. This is number 2. Looks like number 2. See here. 600 volt. I believe it's number 2. Pretty flexible. It could be number 4. That 4 is not number 4. That's just a 4. Because it doesn't say 4 AWG. If I remember right, this is number 2. It's certainly bigger than 4. So here comes the crosscuts. Let's listen. Let's give them a listen. Let's see how they do. This is one hand right here. And we're just going to go ahead and squeeze right there on the meat of my hand for the most power. 2 fingers. This one's just kind of guiding. Cuts pretty good. They open a lot more, and they should have more leverage. These here are a step cut. I've never cut anything this big with these, so I don't know how this is going to go, but I have a feeling it's going to go pretty good because these are step cut. Let's see. Yeah, these are damn impressive for what they are. They are very impressive for what they are. I'm going to cut that again. It's not even in the back there. Like we could even get more leverage back there, but because they step cut, man, they just shear and then they shear. And when you cut number 10 with them, it's almost like it's not even there. They just cut everything. These are pretty awesome though. But you don't need these when you have something like this. Now, to show you what I'm talking about, we'll take some regular cutters because these are also needle nose. And let's grab that wire again. This is the difference when you don't have a step shear cut. There you go. You can see where we almost had to pinch it. Definitely harder. Still doable for me. I mean, that's why I never really recommended the Knipex, because you don't need them. But you can see where even these little needle nose are actually able to cut this easier than the full-size Kleins. I mean, that's crazy. That's a huge improvement. Yeah, this is definitely squeezing harder to do the same cut. Do you need me to come with you? You be my lawyer? That's awesome. You need to keep a steel piece. Okay, read that already. All right, so yeah, these are great, and they cut good, and they should cut good because they are shear cutters. These things cut better. That's wild. Let's do one more time. Got the Australia only shear cutters here. Squeezing right here, 2 fingers-ish. And then we got the step cuts, strippers, maybe 2 fingers. Let's see. Might have to cheat. Let's see. 2 fingers only, right? Oh, they're gonna go. Only still got 2 fingers on there. Yeah. They cut it with just 2 fingers. It's crazy. Then you got the Milwaukees, which kind of do a shear cut, right? And this is why I rocked the Milwaukees for a while, because they cut good, but it's a lot harder to do. But they still cut. See here. All right, so I think what I want to do now, man, I want to get this table. I want to get this table cleared off. And I want to put a big butcher block on here. yeah, so I can pretty much retire these now. I got full-size clients here. We've got actually really good cutters and strippers and needle nose here with cross hatching. These aren't needed for this setup anymore. And we got little mini Knipexes here. Yeah, that's a nice setup. Then we got our Milwaukee, of course, and then we can get our impact in here. No, dude, I didn't. LFL. I wanted to. Dude, I can't keep buying flex tools. The glitch. So if you recall, there was a glitch where they actually made a mistake. And it was $67 for the charger and battery. And then you got any tool for free. They did that in October by mistake. And at first I was like, well, there you go. Flex is going out of Lowe's for sure. But then they walked it back and they're like, oh, no, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. So then I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe Flex isn't leaving Lowe's because they're saying that was a mistake. But now they're doing it for $100. So I actually hit the better deal whenever everything was still in stock in October. And we posted that deal too. I posted the 100 deal last night just in case anybody missed out, but I don't think anything's in stock anymore. That's the problem, is like nothing's in stock. Still a good deal though. Just nothing's in stock. In case you guys didn't know, this is my current setup. So you can work on a ladder. You carry one bag in the house. That one goes on your hip. That one goes on the floor. You set this up on a countertop because it's got like a kickstand kind of effect to it. You can work out of here with protecting your customers' finishes. This is my current setup right now. And I just finished diagnosing a receptacle. They had some tile work done. The backsplash guy did not wrap the screws correctly. They pulled the receptacles out. They barely even tightened the lugs on the receptacles and then just pushed it back in the wall. Or maybe they never touched the lugs and just moving the receptacles loosened everything. But every time they were using their blender, they had visible sparks shooting out of the back of the wall plate because everything was just loose. And this is what I used. 99% of the time I'm taking cover plates off with this here. Fast, really quickly, like this. Not like this. This is slow. I like to use this fast. You can even hold this still while you spin. These are awesome. This is most definitely the current setup right now. That is bad mojo. Which one? What is bad mojo? Oh, yeah, the receptacles. The towel guy? Yeah. Yeah, man, people are crazy. When you know, ignorance is bliss. When you don't know, you don't know. You have no idea what you're doing to somebody. You're just doing your trade that you know, and that's it. You know, I've actually got these Sonotas here that are cross-cut that I kind of want to check out. Somebody told me to get these because they cross-cut and they have an aggressive, very aggressive, too aggressive actually for electricians, but still, you know, kind of cool. I want to see how these things cut that number 2. I think it's right here. Let's see here. Damn. Ha. Yeah, that's actually pretty impressive. These things cut like freaking butter, dude. Wow. Still unusable for electricians. Way too much aggression on the grab there. I mean, that's almost as deep as a number 14 copper. Just way too aggressive for makeup. This is what they look like when they grab wire. They completely jack it up. Watch this. You squeeze here, like that. We haven't even started to twist yet. So if you grab it like this, man, they get completely... And if you grab the copper, does a pretty big number on that too. So when you're twisting with them, they're just really, really aggressive. We'll grab a couple of different spots so you guys can see. Yep, too aggressive for us electricians, but they cut nice. What were those tools called? Which one? These? These are the 2-in-1 insulated multi from Klein. Comes with this screwdriver. Usually says insulated multi, but you can't read it because I use it so much. I think I've got one around here somewhere that I don't use that we might be able to read. Here's another one. I like it so much I bought a second set. You can buy the set for 20 for this, or you can buy the set for 50 with all the bits and stuff, man. They're great. And sure, we could use, you know, the regular screwdrivers and stuff the Klein has. But you can see the space that it starts to take up. This has, I got 6 different sizes here with one screwdriver. And then when I want to switch sizes, I can just slide this right down on top of my bit here. I can pull it out the magnet's kind of screwing me here. You can pull it out one-handed and you can actually attach. If I can pull it out. There you go. Yeah, you can actually attach the whole thing one-handed if you have to. If you're holding something and realize you got the wrong size, you can switch these out pretty easily. This one's got a magnet on it, so it's going to be fighting. But yeah, you can switch these out pretty easily one-handed, which I like. Get on there, Milwaukee. There we go. You like your Vera? Yeah, the Veras are nice, man. Love your videos. I have a bedroom that has literally lost power on all 4 of the power outlets. Any suggestions? How do electricians swap out the breakers to the room, but the problem still exists? Yeah, switching out breakers is not going to fix your problem. Your problem, is it your lights as well? Let me know if it's your lights as well. I'll tell you exactly what to do while I clean off the table. Lights still work. Okay, so it's lights still work, receptacles are out. Okay, this is what I would do. Ideally, I want a Sharpie. Here we go. For receptacles, These are receptacles. First thing you need to do is you need to get a multimeter. And what you got going on right now is that there's what we call a daisy chain, where your wires are in the wall, basically, and you're looped from receptacle to receptacle. If all of your power is out, chances are, let me get a receptacle and show you. Chances are your wires are backstabbed and you need to push this wire back in. Just like that, right? And now you're going to be sending power back through the circuit. But the problem is you got to figure out which one it is. So the best way to do that is to actually get a multimeter. And you're going to go to the receptacles that don't work. Chances are you got an adjacent room that you didn't think about, and the plug is actually also feeding it. So you think it's just this one room, but really it's going to be this receptacle. For example, what you want to do with the power off, because you still have power on, so you need to turn the power off, okay? With the power off, you're going to pull all your receptacles out of the wall. And that might fix your problem, which means that you got a loose connection in the back of one of your plugs. It could be that simple. So, yeah, just like what Jonathan said, you could have a switch on the wall, constant hot feeds your receptacles, and it loops all the way around. There's a number of things. Since your lights are on, I'm thinking it's not going to be your switch. I'm thinking you're going to have a plug that feeds that room that you don't know about. Once you open up your box, I need a different piece of paper. Once you open up your box, actually, you know what? We do this better. There we go. I got wire coming from this side, and I got wire coming from this side. See that? Got wire coming from this side. Got wire coming from here. And I got a ground screw, okay? With your multimeter, you need to figure out, did you lose a neutral or did you lose a hot? If you lost a neutral, you'll still get 120 volts to ground. You just won't get 120 volts to neutral. So you can still plug in your multimeter leads, go hot to ground, like this. Small one is the hot. That's the ground. If you got tamper-proof receptacles, you need to plug in at the same time, like this. Then it opens up. Then you can pull one out. Now you can go to ground. That'd be hot to ground. Best way to do it is actually just to pull the whole wire, pull the whole device out of the wall, get to the actual wires. So if you got 120 volts hot to ground, but not 120 volts to neutral, you know that you lost a neutral. A good start would be to know what you're trying to find before you try to find it, obviously. So you want to figure out which one you have. And then you want to figure out which one's not sending the power. So you might find that you have power here, right? And with everything connected, you still don't have power on this wire, because you got a bad connection that's sending wire back this direction. There's a bunch of different ways it could be. The most common is probably going to be one of these has a loose connection, it's not sending power to the rest of them. Or one random plug somewhere in your house, this one wire that's supposed to be feeding the rest of the receptacles is not able to do it. This is good work, guys. Appreciate it, Josh. Did you replace your smoke detector? Now you have a loose neutral. Yeah, you never know. You never know. Lighting circuit usually runs off the receptacle circuit. That's very true. And hook up a three-way switch. Okay, three-way switch. Pretty easy. The best way to remember is that the black screw decides everything. So if we have a three-way switch, they always have a black screw, and we have two brass screws and two brass screws, one black screw. Best way to know is just the black screw. One gets the power, one gets the load. Any way you dice it. These run together. These are called your travelers. This would be inside of one sheathing of Romex here like this. You could have a, a 3-wire, really a 4-wire. We're going to call it a 12-3 with the ground. And that's how you get your neutral back to the switch box. So you'd have a black, a red, and a white, and then your neutral will be inside this box. I don't want to complicate this. This one here is going to go to your constant hot. Constant hot is anything that's not switched. So we could leave the breaker. We could go to 17 receptacles. We could even go to a switch. This is the line side of the switch. This is the load side of the switch. So long as we never get on the load side of the switch, it's still a constant hot. We could come off of here to our constant hot, however you're going to do it. Your other black screw is going to go to your light switch. That apparently looks like a butthole. There you go. The room outlets went out during last Christmas tree was plugged in. Thanks for the advice. Okay, so what happens? You've most definitely got backstab plugs. So this is really common, right? Think of it like this. We've got a spring. We've got a spring. Okay, this is a spring. And when the wire heats up, it moves slightly, okay? And over time, what happens is the more wear and tear that happens, if I do this enough times, you'll see what I'm talking about. As time goes on, your wire is moving years and years and years, okay? It's never been a problem, okay? Just keeps doing this. It heats up, starts to move a little bit, and then once you turn your power off, you turn the Christmas tree off, it cools back down, and it goes back to where it was, okay? So years and years and years goes on, and we don't have any issue. But then one day, after bending this wire so many times, just like a garage door spring, the wire stops bending back to where it used to be because it's just tired of being wire, okay? That's what you have going on in your receptacle. So you probably got backstab plugs. The stabs are shaped like this, basically. And the wire just pushes in. And over time, years and years happened. And these would start getting a little bit looser over time. And then one day they just stopped making connection. They just said, screw it. I'm tired of making connection. That's what you have going on. When you have an older house or you have backstab receptacles that have been doing that for years and years, and you've got a daisy chain situation like I showed you, it's basically a time bomb just waiting to not be connected anymore. It's just a timer. How many more times is it willing to suffer the abuse before it decides not to connect back to itself? When you add amperage to your circuit, you're creating more heat through your circuit. You could be 70 years old, not do very much in a house, and have no issues at all. And then one day, you buy a new fancy vacuum, and you plug it into this receptacle. Let's say this receptacle is down the hall. This is in a bedroom. This is in a bedroom. This one's in the hall. And we start plugging in the vacuum here and putting a lot more load on this wire than it's ever seen before. This is the equivalent of your Christmas tree. So your Christmas tree is pulling more load than normal because in the summer, the Christmas tree is not plugged in. Now in the winter, you got the tree plugged in. Maybe you got some lights outside. You got some extra load on that circuit. And the wire kept flexing and flexing and flexing and flexing. What's happened right now, basically, is that your wire's gotten tired of having to reconnect itself. You can, but there's a lot to thermal imagery that a lot of people just don't know. So when you're looking at thermal imagery, you have to take all the covers off, which is why infrared's dangerous. So a lot of people don't know this, but you can't see through glass. This lens is made of sapphire. So lens is sapphire. Infrared can't see through glass. Those portholes that you see on the side of that, tens of thousands, $100,000 of equipment, those portholes are actually made of sapphire too. You can't see through glass. So we can't see through plastic either. So let's see here. Let's get something hot. Let's touch. Oh, haha. Let's play with fire. Okay. Nice. Okay, check it out. We put plastic in front of this, invisible. Move the plastic, put the plastic back, move the plastic. The plastic's clear, but you can't see through plastic. So for you to actually be able to do infrared properly, you have to remove all the cover plates. You have to remove all the things. And then another thing, like, see how this looks like it's hot? That's really just a reflection. And the way you can check is kind of to move around with the camera and see, are you looking at yourself? Like if you move in the background, are you seeing your reflection? Because you're going to get reflection. That's going to be hot wire here. That's reflection. Whatever that is, that's definitely reflection. That's this magnet right here. That's problematic wire. You see what I'm saying? So you can't really do infrared like a lot of people think you can, by just going from plug to plug to plug to seeing what's hot. It really doesn't work that way. If you've got a problematic wire that's like ready to burn your house down, you might be able to see through the wall. Pretty rare though. You're all right, dude. I want to tell the truth on here, bro. Yeah, some people assume some people are lying. Oh, yeah, I get it. You're going to be a travel electrician? That's cool, man. Get you a mobile van. That's why I want to be 100% honest. Yeah, man. You got to be 100% honest. Your word is your name, dude. Like that's all you got is your name and your word. And that's it. And once your word is no good, then your name is no good. So, yeah, 100% honest. That's always the best policy. Everyone's always going to respect that. Yeah, no problem, Scoot. How do you orientate the travelers in a three-way? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the way that it switches when one's up, one's down. So you really actually can't mess it up because one switch. So these are our travelers like this. These are solidly connected. We want to be able to turn the light off, right? So right now, when this switch is going here, right now, and this is going to the light, And this one here is going to the power. Okay. When this switch gets flipped up, the light used to be on, because if you follow the line, this was sending power through the light. When you throw this switch up, this one's no longer connected up here. So any way that these travelers are orientated, you're always going to be able to turn the power on or off from any location, because if we walked to the other room and this switch was up and we walked into the dark room, we would throw this switch that's off in the on position, and now we're backflowing power back to the light. And if we want to turn the light off, we just throw it down, and we're not sending power to the light. Does that client insulated 8-in-1 screwdriver come with combo bit? No, it doesn't. It does not. It does not, and it's a 6-in-1 insulated screwdriver. It's not even an 8-in-1. This one does not either. This does not come with a combo bit. This is a 2-in-1 insulated screwdriver, and we really need a combo bit for this. That would be like insane. Look at the parallel lines on this thing. It's like perfect. We just need a combo bit. That's all we need, Klein. Give us a combo bit. Appreciate it, Josh. Oh, man, sorry to hear that, dude. Hope your seizures get better, man. That's good, dude. Let's see here. All right, so, yeah, kids will be home soon. There's pretty basic troubleshooting in a nutshell. This is the common issue, though, so it's good you asked that. It's hard to just talk about that without showing it. Yeah. What's up, Big Red? What's going on, dude? How you been? How many subs you got now, Big Red? Yeah, absolutely. You should have gotten a degree. Maybe. Maybe. It depends on what you're doing, man. I don't regret not getting a degree. I've never needed a degree. Just depends on what you're doing. You get a degree for something you're possibly never going to use. Just depends on, you know, what you do with it. Can you actually get like 2 jobs or 3 jobs? It's hard to work more than one job, especially the older you get. Yeah, wasting money, just get to work. Absolutely. I think so too. Just depends on what you're doing, man. If you want to be an engineer, you got to get a degree. I get so many offers, man, to do something else, you know, because I'm the inspector and I'm on site, and I get so many job offers. It's actually insane. These are pretty cool. So I usually have the Fluke ones. These are not Fluke, but this is ZIBOO, Zibo, I guess. I don't know. They plug into the Fluke leads. I don't know if they're going to plug into this. Let's find out. So far, you know, seems like the T6 is a little bit overhyped. What do you guys think? What would you think if that kept happening to you? You know, I bought this because it was on sale. I wanted to try it out for you guys. I had the T5 for years. Man, that is jank. There we go. There we go. Okay. Does that fit? It does. Yeah, this is what I used to use for infrared. I was doing infrared. You'd want to be far away from from the death. Let's see here. Let's go. Continuity. Nice. They work. That's good. They work. Let's see here. Yeah, man, I hate overhyped tools. I know I hype up some, but damn, dude, I only hype up what's good. You'd be pissed if that happened to a fluke that I bought. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Let's see here. I'm an IT and have 0 degrees. There you go. Looking to upgrade your client strippers. What do you recommend? What do you do? Are you resi or are you commercial? There's really only one undisputed pair of strippers that I highly recommend that I know everybody will love. Where are they? This is my commercial. This is my commercial bag here. These right here. The Crocs Junior. The large Crocs actually, I don't think are as good as these. The Croc Juniors are actually better. What I did was I made this thing really stiff. I took the back of this, smashed it out, squished it, and now this is like exceptionally stiff. I can still move it, but look at my finger. You got to put a dent in it. I like it because it's not going to close on me, and it still does what it does. These things will strip number 10 stranded like amazing. Here's number 10. Number 10 here. We have all this trash in my hand too. Number 10 here. Look at that. That's a lot of number 10, dude. That's not easy to do. There's not a lot of strippers that can do that. These are amazing. The Crocs Junior. Highly, highly recommend these. We use strippers for years, man. We haven't had anything that accurate in forever. This is what I used back in the day. So these are number 10 right there. These are for stranded. This is what I use professionally for years and years. Number 10. You see I'm pushing here. Not near as good. Still work. There goes the clear plastic right off of it. There goes the strip. You get on these right here. First try. Bam. They're so good. Bam. Every time, man. The Crocs are where it's at. Can't deny them. Better than anything. Actually. Better than anything that I've found. Number 10 here. Not near as smooth. Still doable. Just from experience. Not as smooth. Now, what I did discover accidentally the other day is if we put these on number 12 and we strip, they work pretty good. But these are, you know, stranded basically. I gotta get this out of my hand. There we go. Number 12 up here strips pretty nice. But these, like you put these on number 10, they actually say number 10 on them. You put them on number 10. Every time. So good. What's up, Frank? What's going on? What's the minimum? 14? Oh, no, they go up to 22. 22. 18, 14, 12. 10 and 8. Yeah, the Milwaukees, they strip okay. I've got the Milwaukees. They're okay. They're okay. Number 10 stranded right there. There you go. They'll do it, but not like the Crocs can, man. Crocs just, I mean, every time, dude, watch. Bam. Easy. How you been, Frank? I've a screw fuse that was blown and replaced it, but the entire circuit doesn't seem to get any power. Where should you start? The entire circuit or a lot of the circuit are two different things. Usually what happens in an overload situation, which sounds like what you have, just like we did this earlier, we have an overload situation. And the thing with an overload is the whole time that you're waiting for the breaker to trip, irreversible, irreparable damage is happening to the circuit. So we'll take this wire and simulate an overload after years and years of abuse. So you get an S-type fuse. So I'm imagining it's an older home. That's going to be your panel box. And you probably don't have the best wire. And you've got modern electronics in there, so you're pulling way more load than the house was probably ever designed to do. You probably got a refrigerator. You probably got some things in your room that didn't exist back in the 60s, right? And then eventually what's going to happen over time is that your wire is just going to start disconnecting itself, right? So there you go, right? That's solid copper. Over time, as wire moves and heats up and things like that, it's going to move just a little bit. Your fuse blew because of your overload situation. Probably not because of a short circuit. If your fuse blew because you have too many things plugged in, you probably have a lot of problems where you're going to have a lot of loose connections, things like that. So to know exactly what's not working would be helpful. What's not working right now? Is it receptacles? These videos, dude, I don't make anything doing lives. Depending on the video, how well it's done, and what I do, some of my troubleshooting videos make a couple of $100 a month each. I do these lives just to interact with you guys and help you guys out so you guys can ask questions real time, because I know a lot of people have electrical issues in their house and they want to ask, hey, my plug doesn't work. I replaced this fuse. I did this. This happened. This is just for interaction, just to help you guys out. It's really hard to make a video like this explaining all this and not having scenarios thrown at me to tell you what's going on. And that is a moving target, man. That's the thing, right? I don't want to single anybody out in the community. I don't want to talk about anybody specifically. If you join someone else's community and you get a lot of followers because you're in that somebody's community, but you're not putting out quality content, it's going to hurt your channel. If you got 4,000 subs and you don't know how to talk behind a camera, you don't sound very confident, you don't keep things moving, you don't know exactly what you're talking about, some things might be out of touch, people are going to sense that. So they're not going to watch. And YouTube is trying to push out your video because you're fairly new. They want to push out as many people as you can. You got 4,000 subs to push it out to, and your content just isn't that interesting. Your channel is going to suffer. You need to start YouTube as if you don't know what you're doing. Get an organic audience that knows you don't know what you're doing, that's willing to watch, and get you some ride or die guys that just really enjoy you for you and not you because you're part of the community, and make a bunch of mistakes and get better and better at making videos and editing and explaining, not pausing too much, keeping the video moving, things like that, because the algorithm's going to stop pushing out your channel. And you really need to learn all that stuff. It takes years to make a video that everybody just loves to watch, that feels organic, that feels natural, and everyone can just follow along. You see what I'm saying? Have I seen the new client insulated bit screwdriver with the 3-inch bit carousel? I have. I got a short on it. I don't know how I feel about it. I want to like it, but I don't like it. So let's compare these two. Okay. I carry these two because I've got a Torx screwdriver that costs $300. These bits here fit in this Torx screwdriver. All these bits are interchangeable. These bits here have a combination drive, flat, Phillips built in right there. Particularly useful for devices. Okay. Klein did a lot of right, where when you're using this tool in compression, first off, this is a nightmare. Okay. If you drop this mechanism here, like, just explodes. These things launch off, springs fly out. This tool was $50 on Woot, and I bought it for the bits and to hold my bits. I don't really recommend this screwdriver. Okay, we got that out of the way. If we're using this screwdriver and we're holding it like this, if we pull towards us, which you kind of use a screwdriver in compression, if we pull towards us, the bits fall out. Okay? This screwdriver here is great because if you push forward, that's what releases the bits, just like the Klein. So if we put a bit in here, and the Wehas are interchangeable here. If we put a bit in here and we use this in compression, we're holding it together, the bits aren't going to fall out. So this is already a good design, right? It's definitely better than the Weha. So Klein did really good by making sure that the bits did not release unless you pushed forward. That's cool. Klein also did good by giving us bit storage and all that stuff, much like this. The problem is that I don't really like screwdrivers that have the carousel. I would have to hold it myself. I don't know if Klein spins freely here. and here, because this is amazing. Holding here while this spins, and then spinning this, because this also spins at the same time, is amazing. So I hope the Klein does that. If it doesn't, you could just sit it in your hand. You could just, because even this free spins, and this one free spins. So I hope to God that Klein spins. I can't talk about it until I know that this free spins. I know this one does because they advertise it. They should advertise this whether or not it spins. I'll be curious to find that out. Klein really needed to give us a multi-bit. It's kind of a letdown. But the price is right. 40 bucks. This is usually 80. This one's usually 80. This is 100. Klein's killing it as far as the price and stuff. I'm excited to try it out, but I'm also really nervous because, of course, I want to like everything that Klein's got. And I want to be truthful with you guys if I don't like it. I'm afraid I'm not going to like it. We'll have to see. I'll have to get it. We'll have to find out. I'm nervous to see does it free spin. And I really, really wanted a combination driver. So it's not going to be you know, this is the best screwdriver ever video if the bits are proprietary and we don't get a combo driver. Because the only reason why I carry this is because it's got a combo driver. But then recently I started carrying this one here. And that's a combo driver from Klein. For my receptacles. And it's a number 1. It looks like a number 2. It's a number 1 or 2. That is a number 2. We got to find the number 1. I got a number 1 around here somewhere. We'll just have to see. When you get back in school, get your good enough degree. I got my good enough degree, dude. What's that? What good tool setup for the panel work? I want to see what I can fit in the Klein 8-pocket tool pouch. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 6. Let me get the 8. Oh, it's not in here. Hang on. Let me go get it. I don't think this is it either, right? That's not the 8-pocket. 1, 2, 3. This is not the 8-pocket either. Hang on, one more try. Should be in here. see here. That's the 18 pocket. Let me go look one more time. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That might be it. All right, so for panel work, you just terminating panels? Or are you trying to install panels? What are you trying to do with the panels? This panel, this pocket's cool because it's got the storage there. This pouch here actually carries your tools better than, you know, actually any of them, because it actually has a space for everything, and everything fits here like pretty nicely. This pocket here, or this pouch here, gets pretty darn heavy pretty quick. And your tools start kind of overlapping each other to where they start getting tighter. And they're relying on that pass-through to kind of make it work. It still works, but everything's kind of on top of each other. See where you're trying to fight to pull that out? It's okay. Another pouch for your drill part. And the 8 pocket for the conduit runs. Yeah, exactly. They almost made these a little bit kind of too, I don't know, man. Klein was like the best pouch maker, and then they started doing this. So I don't know. I've got something that Klein was experimenting with before they started doing this. I'll show you. This one's obviously the material pouch, right? This one here is this is how the belt clip goes. And then like actual like pockets. I don't know why they got away from this. It's beyond me. I don't know why they stopped doing this. But I wish they hadn't have. Because they had a couple of different designs with it. I was kind of liking this. They could have made this shorter so this didn't hit your knee so low. Part of the problem was because this kind of like rode sort of long, right? And it would kind of hit your knee. But they could have easily just, you know, shortened everything up or something. This pass-through thing is, it's okay. Oops. Threw away the wrong one. I would get this Vito knockoff for $30. I don't know if they sell them anymore. They're on Amazon. I would get the Vito knockoff. That's what I would do. I would get the Vito knockoff. I would get my full-size Kleins. I would train. I would train this where my strippers could go here. Usually my strippers sit right here, and they just sit. So this would have to get figured out. But your Crocs are better anyway. So I would go with this and then this. As much as I don't like it because the grips fail, I would go with this. These are designed for terminating. They are completely parallel. The tips are great on this. Get in there. Fits right there. Can't go wrong without the ball grip. I heard somebody say that they bump this and it drops a bit. Dude, I have yet to have this problem. I have yet to have my bit fall out unexpectedly. I guess it's just me. I don't know. For $30, it's hard to beat this. You still have screwdriver things in the back, you know. It's not quite as good as the Vito, but for $30, damn, it's great. If I was to do it on this, I don't know, man, because there's a lot of pass-throughs and a lot of loops and a lot of holes. And I'm not a fan of my screwdriver stabbing me in the leg. So this loop here, that's going to fit down there. I think that one goes here. Take your needle nose strippers. Not there. That's not too bad. Your room for other screwdrivers. It's not a bad pouch, man. It's pretty damn wide, though. It's a wide pouch. I think my kids are here. My kids are definitely here. Which means we're out of here. The Husky version of that? I'd like to see that. They do not sell those anymore? Dang. Not a fan of your hammer hitting your leg. Yeah, exactly. How come Josh got timed out when he said he thought it'd be dangerous? It's interesting. I don't think he needed to be timed out, man. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, not sure why Josh shouldn't have been timed out, man. All right, guys. Take it easy. See ya.